All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this 2-day shadow work masterclass for ICF coaches. As part of this masterclass, we'll not only understand the concepts of shadow work, but also see it in action live and learn how to integrate it with coaching. But more about it from Dharmishta once I hand it over to her. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Avinash. I'm from Hyderabad, India, and I have recently got my ACC credential as of last week. So, yay! And when not coaching, I love writing and I'm an avid mythology reader. That's about me. I'll also take a moment to talk about the CJ community. Most of you are veterans, you've been here for a long time, but some of you may have joined this community recently. Coaching Journey is a community of around 900 coaches from across the world who are at different stages of their coaching journey. And we're all here to help and support each other, to celebrate our shared passion for coaching. We have more than 130 PCC coaches and a few MCC coaches as well. The dual mission of CJ community is to, one, build a supportive and resourceful community of coaches, two, build awareness and deliver experience of coaching to the underrepresented groups globally. You can learn more about the community through our website, LinkedIn, Facebook groups. And now I'd like to take a moment to introduce our host for today. Sorry, our speaker for today, Dharmishta. And also maybe I can just share a quick tidbit of how this started. I think I put a message in the WhatsApp group saying, anyone here knows shadow work? Do you be interested to talk about it? And then Dharmishta and I got on a call, and then there were more conversations. And Dharmishta very gladly agreed to do this masterclass. So this has been in works for a long time. Truly appreciate Dharmishta you coming forward and doing this. A little bit about Dharmishta. Dharmishta Roy is an ICF credentialed coach, inner child and shadow work specialist, clinical and PLR hypnotherapist. She has helped countless clients experience radical turnarounds by integrating shadow work into the coaching space, transforming chronic self sabotage into self leadership, healing deep seated emotional wounds, and unlocking authentic confidence in both life and leadership. With a unique blend of ICF aligned coaching, inner child healing, and depth oriented shadow practices, she creates a safe and powerful container for deep transformation where hidden patterns rise to the surface and healing becomes not just possible, but inevitable. And what's even more amazing is that when Dharmishta is not coaching, she's painting, she's also a tarot card reader, and she is a hodophile, a word that I just learned today when talking to her earlier in the morning. A hodophile is someone who has a love for travel and journeys. So that's all about Dharmishta, and we're so glad you're here today. With that, I will hand this over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Avinash. That was quite a detailed introduction that you have given, and I'm so glad. I'm so grateful for the words, so kind of you. Hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening to one and all. I would like to say good evening, namaste. Hello to everyone from different parts of the world. So I just want to know, where have you joined in from, which part of the world you have joined in from. If you could just drop in your names and the part of the world that you've joined in from, that would be lovely to know more about you as well. So as we are progressing, as we are learning more about this topic, we'd get to know um, about you as well, and the unique set of situations or unique set of people that we meet through these webinars or say these master classes. And I'm extremely grateful to the community of CJ, the coaching journey team. Extremely grateful to Sandeep, to Yashaswini, to Avinash, whoever I have interacted with, even Vivek for that matter. And I'm pretty new to the community. I just recently, and as in like I completed my ICF ACC, I got credentialed last year. And that's how I got to know that there's this lovely community of coaches where we interact and have an exchange of ideas and we learn from one another. And this is going to be a great knowledge sharing session, of course, with all of you here. So hello, everyone. Hi there. I think all of you have joined in from different parts of the world, and I'm really happy. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining in. And I see 44 people already here. So as Avinash has said, I'm a leadership coach, and I'm a shadow work specialist. I have actually used this modality on a lot of my clients whenever I have seen aspects of shadow coming in, and we'll talk more about how that comes in and how it's visible and how we can actually work whenever this shows up. Some of you might know about shadow work, so great to have you here. Well, I'm assuming that some of us don't really know about shadow work, so I would take it as a heads up for a lot of people not knowing about this particular topic and being pretty much new to this topic, right? So thank you, Avinash, and you actually shared a memory of how this came into being and how we actually took it up, right? So just setting the tone for today's discussion. I hope all of you are comfortable. You can sit in comfortably with your with coffee, tea, wherever you are logging in from. Just setting in the tone for today's masterclass. Again, this is a deep-seated topic, I must say. And whenever we hear about shadow, we get a little intrigued, we get a little scared. Some people have a lot of myths about shadow work, which we are going to understand and uncover, of course. So, yes, so before we get started, I would request you or urge you all to be present to the room. So, when I say present to the room, it's more about bringing your entire self to the room and being fully present if you can. Of course, you can have your spouses, your children in your mind. That's completely fine. You can just turn off the camera and sometimes just go fetch things and do your household chores. That's absolutely fine. But whenever you are here, let's be present to the room to understand more of this topic better, right? I would urge you all to be present to your thoughts and emotions, because shadow work has got to do with a lot of strong emotions, of course, and strong thoughts. So I would urge you all to be present. Whatever is coming up at this moment, I would urge you all to be present to it. Just be aware of it and notice what's coming up when you are going through this particular webinar or say masterclass, right? And of course, there will be a lot of segments which would challenge your belief system, because we do come from a lot of belief systems about different things and different ideologies. I must say, and coming from different parts of the world, we also have cultural beliefs that we are attached to. So there will be certain segments where we I might want to challenge some of your belief systems, and that's if you are getting triggered, I would also urge you to be present to those situations. All right. Yes. And again, I would like to mention this right before we begin. This is not essentially an ICF framework, because we are not looking at an ICF framework where we have different components or different core ideologies, and we are not talking about ICF framework at all. Again, this is just a base where, like Avinash said, we are addressing these deep-seated patterns, right? These deep-seated emotions. And this can be a basis of your coaching. If you're already on a coaching journey, you can somewhere integrate shadow work as a part of your coaching journey. But I might want to set the context and give a caveat right at the beginning that it's not an ICF framework per se, right? Again, like I said, it is going to be a beginner's guide, and I assume that some of you may know shadow work from the start. You might have done a bit of shadow work, or you might be an expert already. But I'm assuming a larger chunk of our audience is still new to it, so I will quickly brush up the foundational elements of shadow work and what exactly it is, right? And of course, like I said, you might experience some ego resistance, where again, that is a part of the shadow coming in, right? Where we have ego resistance as well. So if you have this ego resistance coming in as well, I'd urge you to notice or be aware of this ego as well. So where exactly, what is it that you are resisting at this moment when you're going through this entire masterclass as well, right? And again, not here to fix or change anything, because it's for self awareness, it's for self reflection, And that's about it. Not going into lengthy setting the tone and setting the context, right? Okay, so saying hi to everyone, and I hope you all had a great day. Starting off with our critical and absolutely sensitive masterclass here today. It is all about seeing what they cannot see, the clients that we cannot see. I hope all of you, some of you are coaches already. It's not about fixing the clients. I think we all know this groundwork, where we are a container for our clients and we are not fixing their issues necessarily. We are just being aware of what's coming up to the surface and not fixing it necessarily, right? So it's just setting the tone here. Right. So let's start with a brainstorming session. Now, when you hear the word shadow, what quickly comes to your mind? I just want to have some interaction in the chat going in. Can you just quickly drop in a message? When I say the word shadow, what comes to your mind? Just be honest. Let's be honest. You do not need to copy it from your peers, all right? Just be honest about whatever is coming up. What comes to your mind when you hear the word shadow? Anything that's coming up, something which you do not want to feel, something which is not um, good enough, unconscious shadow puppets. Okay, this is interesting. Vivek has mentioned shadow puppets, hidden, dark, the unknown. Okay, okay, thank you, Monica. Uh, part of me, wow, someone has written part of me, Dilek. All right, hidden, the dark side or the other side. Okay, great. Image or I like that, image or reflection of ourselves. Interesting, some interesting elements coming up. What I'm not ready to face in me, wow. That which functions from the behind. Okay, great. Okay, wow, we have perfect answers here. Guiding light, Shweta, beautiful. Okay, yeah, I'm getting really interesting answers. It's a mixed bag of answers because it's not just the element of dark that I'm getting here. I'm also getting some elements of light, the unconscious. Yeah, most of you have mentioned unconscious. Okay. Um, our subconscious mind that comes up through our behaviors. Okay. Shadow does not bring up anything negative for me. If negative, if anything, I see it as something which is attached to me. Okay. All right. Also the you in a different form. Great. Wow. I think great articulators, and all of you have articulated it so beautifully, right? The you in a different form. Okay. Now, the things that we are going to talk about. Now, I agree with all of you. We are in alignment already. So I want to just quickly throw in. Now, how many of you know this story? Who knows the story of Dr. Jekyll and Hyde? Anyone? Yes. Who knows the story of Dr. Jekyll and Hyde? I think it's a popular story. I have grown reading this story as well. So Dr. Robert, who is the author here? Dr. Robert Louis Stevenson. Yes, I remember. Forgot. Right. It's the strange case of what I remember it as strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yes, the two sides. Even I used to know the story, but I did brush up for this particular master class, right? Okay, so Dr. Jekyll was this person who was extremely ambitious. He had this socially accepted persona, as we all know, the good guy persona, right? And he also had the other side of him, which of course is not socially acceptable. And those were the impulses that he would often hide, or he was not, the society, as we say, the society was not very comfortable with. So, like Dr. Jekyll, we all have those hidden impulses, those hidden desires that we know are socially not acceptable, but we have somewhere hidden those within ourselves, right? So, Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll attempted to, he attempted to indulge his darkest aspects in Hyde. So he started making a potion where he created this separate self. So this separate self was Mr. Hyde, who was his other self, who had all of his hidden desires, who had this repressed self, right? He would do all of the things that were socially not acceptable. So these were the parts where he somehow ignored. Yeah, exactly. So Shweta says that most superheroes have this dual identity, right? Exactly. So if you have such examples as well, you can chime in. You can also put it in the chat if you remember anything. So what happened was, after a point, now this is where the twist came in. After a point, Dr. Jekyll started noticing that Mr. Hyde was doing some socially unacceptable activities which he was not very aligned with, right? Because his conscious self did not really agree with what Mr. Hyde was doing, and he actually went into the dark side. This is where he thought that, okay, I'm going to repress this side of mine, and this is where it's not going to come up. The idea was, again, the more he repressed his particular this particular side, Mr. Hyde, the more he came up, the more he presented himself. So the idea was, the more you repress this part of you, the more it shows up in different ways, sometimes ugly, nasty ways. And there are countless occasions of clients where they have come up, and they have come up in the form of seeping patterns, and patterns that we cannot work with, especially when you are just doing some surface level coaching as well, right? So these certain things do come up as well, giving you a coaching aspect here as well. So this is the shadow self that Dr. Jekyll had. And we notice this, you may notice by now, you might have started noticing that there are some particular aspects of you as well where you might have hidden it or repressed it. And those things do come up. The more you repress, the more they come up, right? The more it gets manifested, or the more you see that particular side of you. How many of you remember this particular mythological character? I think Avinash mentioned that he's a reader. He reads mythology, right? Yeah, Elon Musk. That's a great example, Vivek. I think Vivek has some of the best analogies and stories. It is great to connect with him even on groups. So when you mentioned Karna, Karna also had a persona. If you remember Karna, Karna was this. He came across as this generous warrior, like loyal warrior, noble warrior, if you remember, and he was called as Danvir. If you guys have read, he was called as Danvir. And his shadow side was, of course, because of that deep resentment, the abandonment issue that he went through, he developed a certain side where he started having that jealousy towards Arjuna. And his generosity would often turn into self sabotaging behaviors. And you'd often notice that his suppressed anger would often leak out. Yes, he did. He had major insecurities as well. Someone has mentioned his suppressed anger would come up as blind loyalty, if you remember, as a blind loyalty to Duryodhana. He knew certain things were not correct or morally not correct as we see it, but he still overlooked them because of the shadow side that he did not accept. Let me use the word accept here, because we are priming up to the shadow self already, right? So if you notice, if he had this, if his deep sense of injustice would have met, it could have created a revolutionary leader out of him, but he chose a different way because his shadow self actually chose a different way. How many of you know this character? Who knows this character? I think you know this character already. Anyone from here? Yeah. This is Darth Vader. I think you know, you have watched what do you call, Star Wars, and he's the Skywalker, Anakin. So Darth Vader is, of course, he became the embodiment of Anakin Skywalker, and this was Anakin's suppressed self that came up, right? Um, because after a point, if you notice in the movie as well, the the dark side of him, the shadow side of him, fully takes control of his psyche, because he did not make peace with his shadow self. So Anakin as a character, if you all know or if you don't know, Anakin as a character was someone who wanted power. Yeah. And yeah, someone mentioned he lost faith in the light side, of course. Yes. He didn't want to be the Jedi all the time. He lost faith, and because of his fear and trauma, he had a major fear of losing his loved one. He had a lust for power. And that particular lust, or the desire, this repressed desire, actually gave birth to Darth Vader, right? And we obviously know what was the end, where he ended up integrating his dark self, or the shadow self, right? So by now, I think we all, some of you might have just joined in, and some of you are still here. So, trying to understand what shadow is by now, just giving it to you in a very simple and compact way. Shadow is, again, some of you have already mentioned it, and we are just harping on it again, the hidden or the disowned. Let me reiterate, it's the disowned part. We most of the times do not own it. It's like it doesn't go with the image that we are maintaining most of the times, right? And the image that the persona has, the persona is putting up an image right in front. So this is the hidden, the disowned part, or the suppressed self that we have. And of course, it contains both positive and negative traits. And how does it show up? It shows up in patterns, projections. We'll talk more about it. If you know about these words, jargons, well and good. If we don't know, we will uncover a little more as we proceed. I would like to stop and see if you have any question, so that I can proceed forward. Yeah, any questions so far? Okay, good to go. Yes. Now I want you all to do an activity for me, as it's going to be full of activities, I know. You can also go off mute to talk about your experiences. So I'm going to invite some of you to speak about your experiences of how you might have met your shadow already, or if you are on the verge of meeting your shadow or doing your shadow work uh, in some capacity, right? So I would urge you all to go off mute and talk about it a little bit. Okay, so this is called a triggering mirror. All right. Now, the task is, I want you all to quickly type in the chat. Now, think of a person, and just close your eyes and think of a person who annoys you a lot, or someone who triggers you a lot. All right. So we are talking about heavy emotional reaction. All right. We're not talking about any mild emotional reaction. We're talking about a heavy emotional reaction. The moment you see this person, there's some sort of a resistance, there's a trigger, and they make you uncomfortable. I want you just, I want you all to take a moment to think about this person. Yeah. Yeah. Write one word or a trait that you see in them which annoys you. I want you all to quickly type in your chat. Someone said entitlement. Thank you, Anne. Punch. Oh, arrogant. I like that. Giving unsolicited. Oh, great. Ego. Oh my God. Aggression. Self-involved. Wow. Judgment. Dishonesty. Great. Yes, let us all be honest and let all these chat messages come in. I see only some of them. I want all of you to, yes, chime in. Lack of empathy, very good. Annoyance, lack of drive in life, okay. All right. Selfishness, interesting. Incongruence. Vivek, could you just elaborate a little bit about what incongruence means to you in this context? We would like to know more. Patronizing, very good. Okay. All right. Self-absorbed. Thank you, Marilyn. All right. I see a lot of interesting answers. Lack of empathy. That's the beauty of working with coaches, because we can toy around with words, right? Arrogance and judgment. Okay. Bharti, thank you. Mother, wrong. Yeah, but confident. Someone who mothers, okay, great. A person who always puts themselves first. Great. Oh my God. I see wonderful answers here. Bragging. Overconfidence, sarcasm. Okay, great. I want you all to take a moment, take 1 minute to think about, what does this micromanages? Okay, what does this trait talk about you as well? The moment you notice this trait in someone, what does that say about you? Now, coaches, we are great at reflection, right? So we are going into a bit of reflection here. What does that say about you? Take a moment. Take a moment to get that in, to reflect on this question. And if something comes up, we will, yeah. Okay. Okay. Lavanya is saying my shadow trait. Okay. Perhaps a shade. It's something I work to avoid. Lovely, Shweta. I loved what you have written. Something I avoid. Hmm. Interesting. So, like I said, let's be honest in our chat. And since it's a close knit community, we all can be honest with each other, right? There's a lot that can come up. Yeah, thank you. Defensive. Don't like it in others, so try not to be like that. Yeah, sure. Jean, John, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Yeah, move away or avoid. Hmm. My image is hurting. Hmm. Yeah. See, there will be a lot of, yes, when I ask you this question, what does that say about you? Uh, there will be a strong emotional reaction because it was asked. I mean, someone asked that question to me as well, and I think it brought in a lot of trigger within me when I was working with shadow initially, right? Yeah, I love that jazz. They are a mirror. I love this particular word. Yeah. बुरा जो देखन मैं चला बुरा ना मिलिया कोई जो मन खोजा अपना मुझसे बुरा ना कोई. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, I think I get annoyed when dealing with egotistical people. Huh. So let's figure out what is it about egotistical people that annoys you so much. What does that say about you, right? So herein I'm going to talk a little about the shadow and how the model works. So I would want you to reflect on it, and I'm going to come back to your answers one more time. Whatever you have answered, I would want you all to make a note of it, come back and reflect on what you have answered, right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, people. Thank you for answering. Thank you for being honest. So let's unpack a little more about what the shadow model is. Some of you might know about it. Let's get a little deeper into it because some of these coaches have come back to me saying that they don't know a lot about shadow work, right? So they were not very sure of it. So herein is the model, right? So when you talk about this, we often talk about this person. Okay, let me go back to this slide. Can anyone tell me who this person is? I think it's already there on the slide. He's Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, who is the founder and the man behind shadow work. Yeah, man, management guru. All right. So this is where Carl Jung's map of psyche comes into picture. If you can see the picture, what comes to your mind? Just take a look at the picture, people. Just take a look at the picture, and what do you gauge from the picture? What do you gauge from the picture? The Young's map of psyche, whatever comes to your mind, I want you all to just jot down what's coming up when you see the picture because, yeah, yeah. Equal parts as within, as without. Okay, thank you, Jess. Yeah. So, yes, so I would, yeah, I invite more of your reflections here. So, when we talk about Young's map of, what do you call? um, Psyche, this is how we get started off the known and the unknown. Yeah. So you know about the great iceberg model, right? So I didn't want to bring in the iceberg picture, but even when we visualize the iceberg, I think this fits in perfectly well. So when you talk about the ego is your conscious identity, right? It includes your thoughts, the memories, everything that you're consciously aware of, it comes under ego, right? And ego is like the manager, right? So ego is like the manager who wants to, take decisions, be in control. It organizes everything in your life, right? So when you say that I want to be successful, it's your ego talking, right? Persona is the social mask that you wear in front of others. Yeah, exactly. So persona is a social mask you wear in front of others, a version that you have consciously put up. Say we all are coaches, and I'm going to get into more details. We all are coaches, and we see the persona coming up very differently when we brand ourselves, right? This is the persona that's coming up already, the social mask that we wear. Even now, while you are sitting here in this room, you all have a persona right now, and I may not be able to know you entirely, right? Sometimes we are only dealing with the persona of the person for a long time, for many years, and we don't get to know about the person deep within. Why? Because the image, the ego is so strong, they're strongly attached to it, right? Yeah, you may act confident at times. So the persona works in this particular way, right? So you may act really confident in training rooms or say in your coaching sessions, and the moment you get back home, you slide into your insecure self, right? Yeah. Tiramisu. I like that. I like that metaphor. Right? All of you are masters of metaphors, so I can get to see a lot of metaphors here. Yeah, so that's persona. Now, what's the self? Self is the whole psyche. I think we talk about the self again. Carl Jung talks about the self in a wide range, where he also goes into talking about the spiritual aspect of it. It embodies everything, the conscious and the unconscious parts of you. It's like bringing in everything, the shadow, the conscious, the unconscious parts of you, which forms the self. And then we have the shadow, which is your denied, the hidden part that you have stashed away, right? So that's the whole bit of it. Now, just to drill down this particular concept, like I said, I hope you can see my screen properly. This is the mask that we show. What is it? This is our LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn image is so full of, I think it's full of polished achievements. It's full of professional photos, glowing endorsements, right? It's the face that we are putting up to the world. And this is how we are presenting ourselves to the world. This is the persona that we have, the mask. Is it fake? Now, my question to you all of you, is it fake? The persona that you have? A question to all of you, is it fake? Well, it's not fake, it's strategic. Okay, we can't, yes, thank you. It's just it's strategic. We want to present ourselves in a particular way. That's the reason why we have this persona. So when we sit in the sessions, say in coaching sessions, who do you often meet? The first time, you often meet the client's persona, the LinkedIn profile you see, and it's not their raw, unfiltered version, right? The moment you get to know them when they're getting into the coaching sessions, then you unravel some of their unconscious parts, right? Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Aniket. So this is the persona that we talk about. Again, giving it a more what do you call, a more bit of an identity and shape. When you talk about the ego is none but the team manager, right? Like I said, imagine your psyche is like a company. Okay, the company needs a manager, to someone to manage the entire activity, the cross-functional teams, right? The business operations. So the ego is the manager in charge of the day-to-day actions and operations. It is mostly mediating between your external expectations, which is the persona, and the internal impulses, which is your shadow, right? What does the ego want mostly? Who can tell me? What does the ego want? Yes, who can tell me? What does the ego want mostly? For your ego side, what is, boost. Okay, Vanita. Attention, yes, seeks to protect, yes, seeks to protect and preserve. Yes, the ego wants control. The ego wants stability. The ego wants consistency because it's a team manager managing somehow, right? So this is where the ego runs the role of the team manager. Yeah, and now looking at this, so when you invite someone home, I want to ask everyone, how does your living room look like? How does it look like? Does it look neat and clean, or is it like you have all the dirty clothes and things which are scattered, organized, right? Okay, neat and clean. Yes, your living room looks neat and clean. Yes, absolutely. But have you noticed how does your basement look? I'm not talking about people who have OCD. I think people with OCD also have their basement, which is also very organized. Yeah, aesthetic, really good. Yes. Right. Storeroom chaos. I like that, Jazz. I like that. Basement, mostly your basement. How does it look? It looks a little chaotic. It looks a little chaotic. It looks like a box which you have stashed away. You don't want the guests to see. What exactly is this? This is your shadow self, right? And I hope all of you have got this by now, the analogy. This is your shadow self that most of the times you do not want people to see. And the sad part about the shadow self is it mostly leaks out. It doesn't stay shut forever. It leaks out. So even if you have kept something which has been there for many months, the smell, the stench will leak out, right? If someone has not done their shadow work, it will leak out. Of course, that's the whole point, right? So this is where we want to know how this shadow actually works. And what is self again? It's the orchestra conductor, right? You've seen the orchestra conductor. What does the orchestra conductor do? The orchestra conductor is the, taking care, yeah, who brings harmony among all instruments, right? So, okay, you are ego. Okay, you are persona. I want to bring a little bit of harmony, a playing rhythm. I want to make sure that everyone is in rhythm, right? So this is where the self works absolutely in rhythm, bringing all of these elements together. And if some of you are already in spirituality, you might have noticed that when you are going towards self realization, this is really vital, where we are bringing all of the parts together, not just for healing at the psychological level, but also healing at the spiritual level, where we are integrating all of these parts to go meet the self, right? So, yes. It's Shweta, I love that. We play escape room and out of the shadows into the light. I love that. I love what you have just mentioned. So just to give it to you in brief, if some of you have just chimed in and if you're new to it, just wrapping up this concept. Persona is who I show to the world, who I am. Ego is who I think I am. Shadow is who I hide, but I still am this person, and the self is who I truly am, the whole, the entirety of it, right? So, yeah, I'm going to stop here to see if you have any questions so that we can move forward. Okay, no questions? Okay, good to go. Now, the question to all of you, have you ever wondered, have you met people? Say you have met person. This person looks seemingly nice, very good, respectable, really the nice guy, the nice woman, okay, very polite. They never shout, they never go out of character. Have you ever seen anyone in your immediate family or your social circle or people you have met or the clients you've met? Have you ever wondered why these people have, or they react, or they act out of character? Can anyone tell me this? Have you noticed something about them? Like seemingly good people, but they've just acted out of character and you don't know what happened. Sudden outburst, something that they might not have expected from themselves as well. Giving it a moment here. Yeah. Basement, the real person peeps are, yeah, leaking out of the bag. See, oh, you're talking right now. Triggers. Yeah. Why is the circle persona is the inner circle, then the ego, shadow, encompass, then self. So, okay, we'll take questions wherever you have questions. We'll take in towards the end of it. Suppressed emotion, tipping point, yes. If you remember any incident, you might want to put it in the chat so that we get to know from your experience as well. Yeah. Yes, emotional states of the person. Okay. Yeah, I agree. But sometimes these are very suppressed and hidden selves that don't come out, and they come out in extreme situations that we are not aware of. How many of you remember this character? Yeah, breaking point. Who remembers this character? Who is this character? Pressure cooker. I love that. Who is this character? If you are a big movie buff. Yeah, Tamasha. Okay. All right, great. Yes. So how many of you? Yeah, Ved from Tamasha. What a character, right? So if you remember Ved, when you remember this movie, right? Ved from Corsica, he was really playful, dramatic, imaginative. He he has a storytelling capacity, right? He's such a creative person that Deepika Padukone meets Tara, okay, in Corsica, and he tells Tara a lot of stories, right? Then there is a shadow leak. The moment he comes back to his original home, he steps inside. He leans into his normal routine life, which where he leads a very robotic kind of a life, and this is where his creativity gets suppressed, right? And he's not even aware of it. If you remember the scene where he goes, asks this person, "Who am I? Give me my identity. I don't really know." And this person is saying that you are asking your identity, your story from me. So you can imagine uh, what level of a repressed self he might be living from, right? So this is where you notice in one of the scenes, if you have seen the movie clearly, if you notice this scene where he has a sudden outburst, and Tara seems to reject his proposal. He has a sudden outburst that, you could have told me about it, you could have rejected me properly. So this is where his people pleasing shadow self is also coming into picture, where he's not able to confront Tara in an assertive way, and there's a sudden outburst of rage, the suppressed rage that he has not worked on all over these years, right? So yes, giving it some moment for you to um, have this experience, or any awareness, anything coming up. I would like to stop here to see if anything coming up for all of you. Just stopping it, pausing it here. Good to go, everyone. Any questions so far? Okay, so giving you one more moment is like one more example. If you remember this person, who was this person? I think you remember this guy. Yeah, he's Will Smith. All right, the nice guy. He's always curated this public image of being that charming, funny. Still, yeah, I'm still a Will Smith fan. Yeah, I am also a fan here. Um, so, like I said, he carefully crafted his persona of this charming, funny guy, the family man, the Mr. Nice guy. And this is his persona, the socially accepted, like we say, the face he shows to the world. And there was this, yeah, exactly, the unprocessed trauma. I totally agree with you, Vivek. The trigger that he had that day when Chris Rock was, um, yeah, he had a jab, like a comedian's jab, indirect remark on his wife who had a shaved head because of a certain disease. And Will Smith could not take it. It was just too unbearable for him to take that trigger. Why? Because he was probably hiding behind that nice guy persona. How much would he take it? It's like someone mentioned pressure cooker, right? So the lid got open and he couldn't bear it anymore. So this was the nice guy image gone completely haywire. Yes. And overly sensitive. Yes. After some time, if you remember, he did apologize. He did reconcile. He did apologize for his act, right? So there are a lot of stories that might come up in your immediate environment, in your immediate life as well. I would love to hear. Yes, yes, it is. He's the protector of the family. So this there is the hidden gift also. Like I said, there's a hidden gift of your shadow as well, where the moment there was an outburst, he was protecting. It came from a space of protecting his family, right? So sometimes when we don't own it as well, owning it helps us understand that our shadows actually have a hidden resource, right? So yes, I have a question here. Is a person really calm, or they simply avoid conflict and confrontation? Yeah, exactly, exactly. So most of the times, if you notice this, a calm person, like we say, do not what do you call, trigger their demons. Right? This is mostly their repressed self that comes out, because the nice person, the calm person, is hiding behind the persona of being nice to everyone. Okay, so coming from this space of me also being a coach, I think, talking about my experience, I do come across as someone who is calm, very supportive, very comfortable to work with. So sometimes I have noticed this, I have hidden behind my persona on most occasions. And that has led me to a lot of situations where people have taken undue advantage of me. All right. And this is when I say undue advantage, in the sense that they might have asked for a discount in their pricing. Sometimes they just want to have a free session and readings where they're absolutely free. And sometimes clients just don't turn up, like no show. I mean, they have had significant turnaround in their life, but I don't get to hear back from them after doing that work. And this used to trigger me a lot during those days as well. And this is where shadow work comes in as well as a coach, where exactly these things trigger you as a coach as well. This is something that I want you all to observe today and take it as an experience. right? So everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. What does that say? I mean, how does that land with you, coaches? I would like to have some responses in the chat again. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. So we'll go back to the responses that you've given me. What is it that annoys you about this person a lot, right? Yes. What do you think about this particular quote? Okay, it's an excellent opportunity to learn. Thank you, Shweta. What else is coming up? Right. So when you talk about this, yes, it's self-aware. Yeah, to rediscover yourself. So sometimes I have noticed it when I have been judgmental, I get to know that it's something that probably talks about me. All right. Yes, it's something that I either like or dislike, but unable to incorporate it in my persona. Yeah, I like that. The inability to integrate it in our persona is true. Let's take that, let's acknowledge it. Thank you, Lavanya. uh, the inability to integrate it somehow, it's true. Even if you have attended shadow work courses, you might have done shadow work all your life, there is no way that a person has stopped their shadow work, because it is a constant process, and the integration is not a one time affair. I must say this, right? So this is where, yeah, to turn around and look inward. I love these answers. Helps me be kinder with others. I like that, Monica. So another shadow bingo. I want you all to pick this. Go back to the activity as well. We'll go back to the activity that we did just a little while ago. I want you all to look at this particular bingo. You see the traits marked there, right? Everyone, just give a heads up. You see the traits like controlling, perfectionist, needy, lazy, judgmental. Yes, good to go, right? So I want you all to, yeah, I want you all to mark the boxes you have seen in others. Okay, what have you seen in others? I just mark the boxes that you've seen in others. Okay, Devang is saying controlling, Mala is saying controlling, yeah, perfectionist, a lot of you. Okay, great. Attention seeking, yeah, I think all of you have mentioned it just a while ago as well. So this is coming up at a broader range. Okay, yeah, Vivek. Oh my God, what an honesty, Vivek. I have exhibited every one of these at some point, I feel. Okay, great. I love that. At least you're being aware of it. Okay, great. Great. So Vivek has already brought this into your awareness. Now that you're still marking, I want you all to mark honestly, be honest with yourself, and see what all is coming up. I know, I mean, when I saw this bingo, I was like, okay, I I see it in them. What about these in me? Okay. So which of these could also live in you? I want you to tell me. Yeah, what
Could
characteristics
you
or which,
explain free space?
sorry?
Could you explain free space?
Free space is where they take a lot of space to be themselves, taking up space. Being a little arrogant as well at times. Yeah, let me put it in a very negative trigger. Taking up space, So this is where free space comes in a picture. Yes, if you have seen it in others, you can mention that. Yeah, attention. Yeah. So, which of these traits do you see in yourself as well? And in which areas of your life have you seen them? You can be specific as well. So, Dharmishta, I see it in my professional life that I become avoidant at times, or I become really bossy. Yeah. If you spot it, you've got it. Yeah, absolutely. I love that, Vivek. If you spot it, you've got it. Yeah, great. Critical. Oh, I like that. Most of you have mentioned critical. Okay, Devang says, I see most of them in some or other situations. Okay, feel it in personal life. Yeah, so I see a lot of your answers. You're being transparent in this particular forum, right? There could be deeper shadows that you're not aware of. So take it a moment, take it as an opportunity to go back. What are these deeper shadows that, of course, you see it in others, but you refuse to see it in yourself? Now, where exactly is the resistance coming in, right? So this is something that you might want to figure out. Yes, seeing every part of you all at once is okay, scary. All right. I have a lovely team here and lovely crowd, and all of them are really interesting. So, some of these interesting elements are coming up, right? So, let's talk a little about. So, what we just noticed was a shadow projection. Now, what is a shadow projection? It's very easy. It's like when we see the very qualities that we see, the emotions that we have buried or rejected, we see it in others. So it's like you have a mirror. Someone mentioned the word mirror, right? Immediately we see that and we get triggered. So, like I said, I used a word which is called a very heavy emotional charge. Only when there's a heavy emotional trigger you get to notice what is it about this person that irritates me so much. I mean, I need to understand it. What is this resistance, right? What is it about this person? Yeah, cops know how criminals think. Okay, so what is it about this person? So sometimes I have noticed it, like my team members taking up space in meetings, and it used to trigger me. It used to trigger me left, right, and center. And I used to think, why does this person talk so much? I mean, what is it about this person that I'm hating so much? And I'm being honest, I think some of you might have experienced it in some degree in your life. Maybe you have opened up about it in your close circles as well. So, what is it about them? And then I got to know, someone asked me, okay, probably it's like I want to be them and I'm not able to become them in some capacity. I want to take up space. This is my shadow self coming up. I want to take up space, but I'm not being able to take up space because of the shadow self, the hidden, the repressed self that I have, right? Also because of it goes back way to my childhood as well at times, right? So a lot of things come up when you're talking about the shadow projection as well. So you might notice this even in your clients, right? Say for example, a client being lazy, and if you are that overachieving coach, you will notice that you do not like this client being lazy, not following up with you, and you might be wondering who did I start coaching in the first place. All right, so this is where, yes, we should also have the same boxes for a halo golden shadow. Yeah, absolutely. So this is where, yes, where does it come up? Now the question is, where do these shadow traits come up in your coaching? Even say you've begun the coaching contract, throughout the coaching contract, and you're just about to end the coaching contract. How have these shown up? I'm curious about this very first point. Yes, yes. So Nandita, thank you for bringing in your curiosity here. So the moment, like I said, a lot of examples again. So the moment yes, one is when I see a very confident person taking up space. I do see that, okay, it triggers me somehow because I am not being able to bring in my confident self at times. And sometimes it triggers me. This is where I need to understand, okay, am I, repressing this self? How do I leverage on it? Maybe I can also make peace with this fact and probably I can also try, right? The accepting this very part about me which is triggering at times. Okay. Yes, I think I've noticed this many times, even in my teammates when I used to work with organizations. Them taking up space used to kind of, this was a shadow projection that I had. And I kind of had a resistance while working with them. Why? Because I would avoid working with those people. Why? Because they are taking up space for some reason. And then I got to know there's something about my shadow self here, which I have not worked consciously, right? So this is where these things come up. I would like to stop here to see if you have any reaction. Yeah. Yeah. Is it always the case or a high probability? Yeah, it's not always the case, I would say, Anjali. That's a very good question. So, one thing that I forgot to mention again, let's take it as, say, probability. Yes, even the theories, the concepts that we have, it might be a lived experience in some of us. And I'm not saying these are watertight compartments or they are written on stone that we have to extremely follow and you have to mark them as shadow or something. It's just that yes, these can be seen as a probability where we have seen it in people. All right. Instead of owning them, sometimes we unconsciously want to project them outward, so we want to just see it outside, we do not want to own them somehow. So there was this beautiful question that was asked. I think someone asked this in CJ community itself, that is it like the shadow is formed from cultural conditioning or societal conditioning? And it's very true, because we grow up with this conditioning, the belief systems from our own culture, from our own society, and that kind of suppresses certain things right from childhood. I think these are the growing years from 1 to 18, if I fairly remember, since I do a lot of inner child work as well. Yeah. So that's what shadow projection is, when we start blaming and judging others, what actually lives in us. So shadow projection, if I have to put it in a very simple form, not too complicated for all of you, it is when I get triggered by experiencing my shadow in someone else. I see someone else having that trait. Maybe I want to become this person, or maybe this is something that I've repressed about myself, or this is something that I've not owned. I've disowned this part of me, and it's showing up in another person. And this is what shadow projection is all about. Yeah. All right. So, yes, I would want you all to do a quick quiz about shadow work. I think I'd urge Avinash to bring in the poll. Avinash, I hope you're there. So, we have a quick quiz. It's about the myths busted about shadow work. And let's see how many of you know this.
I've launched the poll. Is everybody able to see?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want a heads up from everyone if you can see the poll already. Okay, the answers are coming in quickly. I think most of you are answering. 16, 18, 20 of you have answered. 46%. Okay, 26. Yeah, good to go, everyone. 36, 38. Okay, it's going up. Yeah. Okay. 41. Interesting answers that I've noticed.
We're waiting for 6 more people.
Yes, 6 more people. Yeah. Yes, all of you. I would love to hear from you. What do you think about these
Yeah,
true
if
or false
folks can answer
statements?
quickly, then we can share the results.
Yeah. Yes, it's okay. You can be wrong. It's absolutely fine. Um, yeah.
I think in
Now
the
this,
interest of time, shall I go ahead and share?
yes, you can share it. Yeah, you can share it, Avinash. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's see. Yes. So how many of you have answered correctly? You can just reflect on what you've just answered. So let's take it one at a time. Shadow, usually, what was the first one? Yes.
Shadow is about
Shadow is
negative.
about negative traits only. It's not true. It's false. It also hides positive traits about us, like courage, playfulness, right? Shadow work is therapy, not coaching. Coaching, like I said, we started off, definitely coaching can use shadow work for awareness, for leadership. When it goes into deep-seated emotions or trauma, this is when we understand as coaches that we need to refer this client to therapy. And since, of course, I mean, I do delve into trauma work as well. So I do take the liberty of taking the client for trauma work at times. But if you are coaches, you're aspiring coaches, this is a great idea where you understand that, okay, this is therapy work, because this is going to deep-seated emotions and deep trauma. I might want to refer this person, this client, to a trauma specialist or a therapist, right? Um, Everyone has a shadow. Is that the next one? You can live without
Live without
having a
that.
shadow. Huh? You can live without having a shadow. No, the shadow is very much a part of you. Even if you integrate it, it's still a part of you. You cannot live without a shadow because it is very much a part of you, and you need the shadow at times to have healthy boundaries, to set those firm, what do you call, to function on a in a different way altogether, to bring in your confident self. So yes, I don't. I wouldn't. No one would recommend you to live without a shadow, of course. The shadow only develops in childhood. Not true. I would say to a certain degree, it develops, say, from in the first foundational formative years. Yes, it is formed by a lot of these unmet needs in childhood. This is where inner child work also comes in, if you are already aware of it. Um, but after 18, say when we go into adulthood, most of the times the shadow is formed by different experiences, by cultural conditioning as well, by different forms of experiences that we have, right? So, not entirely childhood. This is where I would like to challenge what you know. Once you do shadow work, the shadow disappears forever. Not completely true. Yes, the integration happens. It's like you are living, coexisting with the shadow, but it doesn't really eliminate completely. Yes, shadow is hidden potential and creativity too. I think some of you have mentioned false, and largely most of you have mentioned true, which is true. Shadow can unlock hidden creativity for sure, right? So I want you all to quickly go through this case study and tell me what is the shadow that's coming up here. Quickly, what's the shadow that's coming up here? This is where we get in, right? So he's a project manager leading a high stakes ID project. Now his team notices repeated mistakes from one team member, but Raj avoids addressing it directly. He justifies it by saying, I don't want to demotivate the team or create tension. Now, over time, the mistakes escalate, deadlines are missed, and leadership begins to question Raj's capacity or capability. What is the shadow coming up here? I see a lot of responses. Let me take avoids conflict. Okay. He's sensitive to criticism. Yeah. Laziness and demotivation. Yes, I like that. Okay, all right, great. So there you go. This is your, yeah, most of you have answered it correctly. So this comes from the fear of being disliked, the shadow of being the people pleaser. There's suppressed anger. There's an inability to confront conflict. Yeah, there's a people pleasing tendency. There's a lack of confidence, the shadow of fear of authority. He fears authority. That's why the lack of confidence is also showing up. There is an identification of persona as well. We talked a lot about persona, and this is where he's over identifying with the persona of the nice manager. He's hiding behind that persona. I need to be the nice manager, so I don't want to rock the boat somehow, right? So we got to know about it. Now, what happens when leaders ignore what's beneath the surface? Who can tell me? When you ignore, when you meet leaders, you have been leaders in some capacity, you have worked in different organizations as leaders, you're aspiring leaders. What happens when leaders ignore what's beneath the surface? What do you think? Ti- Titanic. I like that. Earthquake. They come across as fake. Okay. Put your finger in a leak, finger hurts, or pipe bursts. I love your analogies and metaphors Vivek, for some reason. I think they are so apt. Yeah. Yes. So usually, yeah, sudden commotions, there are outbursts. They play out of character, right? And they have certain abilities that they are not leveraging on, if you notice, right? So when you talk about this, now I would skip this in the interest of time. This is where the denied half of humanity comes in, as coaches as well. We are conditioned to be so good. We are conditioned to be that nice person. Don't rock the boat. Don't speak up in meetings, right? Don't talk back to your seniors. We are conditioned to be so good. We are conditioned to be so kind that we often double down on this identity even as coaches, right? Because this is our professional role. We want to help people. We want to hold space for them. And this is where we are denying our shadow self actually. So anything outside of that nice persona is something that gets disowned, if you have noticed it, right? So if I identify myself as this calm, compassionate coach, my anger is not sacred suddenly. I've noticed it, right? People are so scared of posting that anger is actually sacred. Anger is important. This is where they are scared to even talk about, okay, anger. Why would you want to get angry here, right? This is because we are hiding behind this persona of, being extremely good. So anything outside of it is, it's like an ego resistance. We don't want to even own it. So what we push down doesn't necessarily disappear. It seeps unconsciously in subtle ways, especially in coaching conversations. Now, I just want to you all to reflect on this particular framework in the interest of time, and we will meet tomorrow as well to talk about how this works in a demo. But this is how the shadow is working for different kinds of coaches, the roles that we take up, right? So for an over empathetic coach, if you notice, who is extremely kind and empathetic, they deny anger and they deny boundaries, of course. So, what is the identity that they are coming from? That I'm patient, I am compassionate, and I'm always listening. This is where the repressed shadow self comes in, right? This coach, now what happens? This coach avoids challenging the client. This coach over validates or secretly feels resentful when the clients are not, acting, or they are not taking action on their on the set things that they have mentioned, right? So I want you all to go back. This is your reflection. Now, what is that repressed shadow self that you have not been able to own or accept? This is something that I want you all to understand, to bring it to your conscious awareness. And this is one thing about you. And as coaches, where have you noticed this identity, the identity that this person, this client is operating from? And what is the repressed shadow impact that you notice? How is it seeping in their, say, the goals that they have set in, or the things that they want to do, they have seeped in, right? So I would want you all, yeah, yeah. So thank you, Shweta. So I would want you all to make a note of it today. And tomorrow, when we are doing a demo, there will be a lot that would come up as well. We will do a lot of activities tomorrow as well. Yes. Oh, Bharti, do you want to see hypnotherapy? Okay, all right. This is again with permission from the CJ community. I would want to take it up again with CJ community's permission. So let's see how this goes. Again, because hypnotherapy doesn't directly come under coaching, it's again a therapeutic intervention. So I would like to ask the team so that we can go ahead with it, right? So on that note, I would like to take your leave, and let's meet tomorrow. This is a question that I would like to leave you guys with. So what is that shadow, the repressed self coming up at this moment that you have consciously not worked with? And what is that one shadow or the repressed self that you feel your clients also show up? Okay. Thank you. Thank you again for joining me and being such amazing audience. I think all of you have been extremely interesting and amazing. You have the responses, the beautiful analogies and stories, and uh, I am just mesmerized. Right? Thank you so much.
I'll just
Yeah, thank you so much. I would love to get your feedback, and tomorrow we are meeting at the same time for a demo. Yes, thank you so much, Bharti. Thank you, Monica.
Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone. I know I'm not taking everyone's names. It's just that whatever is coming out, just
thank you,
taking all
Dharmishta. Thank
names.
you, everyone.
Thank
See
you
you
so
tomorrow.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye.